In this corner, Batman from the DC Multiverse Plastic Man JLA wave, and in this corner, Batman from the Batman and Spawn 2-pack. This one says it's from JLA, but could this figure be the better representation of Grant Morrison and Howard Porter's historic run? Place your bets and stick around, it's time for another Versus. Starting with the packaging, and JLA Batman comes in the extra wide Build-A-Figure window box, whereas the Spawn version comes in the extra wide 2-pack box. Both versions have names and logos, but whereas the JLA version lets us know that we're collecting to build Plastic Man, the 2-pack version gives us character logos in the corners, and lets us know that it's based on the comics by Todd McFarlane. Very loosely based. Though in the 2-pack's defense, at least it spotlights the characters in the box on the box, the JLA one is a bit more preoccupied with showing a Plastic Man, though we do see this Batman down here, along with other figures in the wave. One small detail I like about the 2-pack is that the Spawn half has a different backer card, with that big old sword acting as a natural dividing line. I also like the fact that it's a better celebration of what you're actually getting. For packaging, this round goes to the 2-pack. Moving on to presentation, and both figures hover around 7.5 inches, with the 2-pack version being ever so slightly taller. Going into this category, it's important to remember that the purpose of this battle isn't to figure out which Batman is better, it's to figure out which Batman is more appropriate for a JLA display. By which I mean, what's a better representation of what was on the comic book page. The official JLA figure is just a repaint of 3 Jokers. Instead of black and gray, it's now mostly just all black and yellow, with the faintest of blue accents. For the longest time, 3 Jokers was the Batman for collectors and customizers, with an all-black version being one of the most popular customs. This is because the logo, belt, gloves, and especially boots resemble Michael Keaton. In that regard, it makes sense for McFarlane to capitalize on the popularity of that custom, but now that we have a Michael Keaton Batman, regardless of how we feel about it, this no longer feels quite as necessary. Most importantly, it doesn't look like this version of Batman. This Batman has a dark gray bodysuit, pointy shoulders, and a cape and cowl so dark it might actually be black. Though in fairness, that's kind of hard to tell from panel to panel. For my money, that's a lot more like this. This one is mainly just Year 2 Batman. You can tell by the matching belt and forearms, but with boot tops from Hush. Not only that, but look at the darker, more yellowed orange used for the symbol and belt. Now compare it to this. JLA Batman the comic is clearly wearing a capsule belt with a square buckle, and so is this guy. Now take a close look at the hands. They are literally the same as that cover. Granted, the mask doesn't exactly look like that cover, but take a look at this page. Now take a look at this. Even the ears rake back the same. Howard Porter's artwork is inconsistent from page to page, hence in some panels Batman doesn't have the pointed shoulders. Heck, in some panels he appears to have claws. But overall, this is much closer to what we saw in the JLA comic than this. Granted, I still don't like this head. Aside from looking like he's 1,000 years old, he's got this huge underbite. Seriously, did he drink out of the wrong holy grail? Not to worry though, because we'll check out a few other options later. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy we got this figure, but as a closer representation of what we saw on the pages of JLA, for presentation, I've got to give this round to the 2-pack. Moving on to Posability and Draw. Okay, I think we all suspect where this is going to go because they're pretty much the same body. Even so, it's still worth taking a look. From the top, and the heads are on ball joints at the base of the neck instead of the usual dumbbell at the base of the skull. They can look up into the night sky this far up and bury their chins this far down as they gaze into the urban canyons below. They have pretty equivalent tilts, and of course can look all the way around. Moving down, and because of that cape, the 2-pack version can only raise his arms up this high, whereas the JLA version can raise his arms up this high. See? That's something. Otherwise, their rotator cuffs and bicep swivels function the same. Same deep double jointed elbow, though to be honest, the 2-pack version might be just a hair deeper. They got the same McFarlane style wrist ball, and the literal same diaphragm joint and dumbbell waist.
No resemblance.
Because of that big bulky cape on the 2-pack version, JLA gets a slightly better arch back, but hey, their arch forward is equally non-existent. They've also got the same tilt and twist. Below the brightly colored utility belts in both Batman have McFarlane style hips. They've got the same kick.
Surprise, surprise.
And the same split.
Surprise, surprise.
Between the two and the twist in JLA's hip is much better, though there's a chance that the 2-pack version could be improved with a little heat. Either way, their double jointed knees bend equally deep, they've also got toe articulation, and even though their boots are different, they do have the same style of ankle ball that can swivel, hinge, and like this round going from an easy draw to maybe tilting in JLA Batman's favor, pivot. Though, come to think of it, this pivot's a lot better. Even so, between the range in the shoulders and the twist in the leg, even by just the smallest amount, for posability, this round goes to JLA. Moving on to playability, and with so many similarities between the two, this round is really important. Naturally, both figures come with trading cards. If you're watching this, I assume you know who Batman is, but just in case, you can pause here. They also both come with figure stands. In terms of Batman-specific accessories, the only thing JLA comes with is the grapnel gun from 3 Jokers. Fun fact, if you trim it down like this, you have a pretty close approximation of the Michael Keaton version. You can hold that like so. The more important thing is Plastic Man. Batman comes with a regular head, a silly head, and a pair of silly arms. And don't worry, I'll be going over Plastic Man more in depth in his own video. As for JLA, he comes with a pair of alternate hands. Unfortunately, those hands are also from 3 Jokers, meaning that the different hands don't actually match. It's actually the same accessory holding hand and fist that JLA has. I assume that accessory holding hand is for this gigantic batarang. I mean, he can definitely hold it, but then again, so can the hand that he came preloaded with. In that regard, I would have preferred that he came with a pair of fists. One thing he does come with, however, is a Spawn figure. And if you want me to do a full review of this guy, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, the whole set comes with this skull base and reversible backdrop. On the one side is the comic book art that they used on the back of the box. On the other is this wall of skulls that I swear is AI. I don't know, I mean, you see it too, right? Everything just flows into itself in that really unnatural AI kind of way. I could be wrong, it just feels that way to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I like all the skull detail on the actual base itself. It has a real Terminator vibe. That said, it is reversible with these rocks, so if you wanted to put a different backdrop in there, you could. But playability is more than just accessories, build-a-pieces, extra figures, or possible AI art. It's also about how well your figures play with others. Unfortunately, the cape on the 2-pack version is extra wide, so for the purpose of this section, I had to get a little creative. Starting with a sundry of Superman bodies, and here's Action Comics 1000. He's minutely shorter than both, but does scale better with JLA. Next up, we have Hush with his own real estate hogging cape issues. The diminutive DC Classic, built off of the original Page Puncher's body. Earth 2, which actually scales pretty well. And the overly swole long-haired Return of Superman that should have been in the JLA wave. That said, and once again for your consideration, is my Kit Bash. It combines the Rebirth vs. Ultraman 2-pack with the trunks from the Doomsday 2-pack. Completing the DC Trinity is the Collector Edition Wonder Woman, who scales pretty well with either of these. But once again, and here we have the DC Direct Justice League Icons version, her costume is just a bit closer to what she was wearing in the comic in that JLA run. For the rest of the Justice League though, and here we have the Flash, the JLA style hook hand Aquaman also from this wave, but for something a bit more classic, and here's Endless Winter with the alternate unmasked Barry Allen Flashpoint head. For the Green Lantern, that should have been part of the JLA assortment, and here we have Kyle Rayner, but for the one that they gave us, and here's first appearance John Stewart. For the original McFarlane Green Lantern body, and here's Endless Winter John Stewart, but for something classic, and here's Silver Age Hal Jordan from the McFarlane Toys digital line. Rounding out our JLA is the very small Martian Manhunter. For a couple of members of the Batman family, and here we have Nightfall Tim Drake, who actually scales pretty well with these. And then for Nightwing, here we have the Better Than Batman version, and the Titans Wave version, which I think is a bit too small for these two. Well, of course, Batman needs a Joker, so here we have the Rebirth version, the 3 Jokers Clown version, and this one from Mortal Kombat 11. On that note, and here's the Mortal Kombat 11 version of Spawn, and the one that came with the 2-pack, which seems to scale better with 3 Jokers. For a relative scale comparison, here are Batman with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. Of course, unless you like your Batman looking like an alien from Cocoon, I'm sure you're going to want to see some head swaps. Keep in mind though that this particular joint system does limit our options. For the first and most obvious swap, and here's the JLA head on the 2-pack body. I kinda dig how the pointed ears go in the same direction as the pointed shoulders. Additionally, there is a small amount of texture in the cape, so it kinda works. That said, I do think it might be a bit too textured for the rest of the figure. Other way around, and at a distance, it cuts a much closer silhouette to the Keaton suit. That's of course thanks to the taller ears. Unfortunately, the face still looks less like Batman and more like Congressman. For a much better option, and here's the head from Batman Year 2. This is the head that I wish came on this body. It's a solid head, and we haven't seen it since that original Year 2 release. Even on the 2-pack body, it looks great. Again, I really wish that they would have put this head on one of these bodies so that we would have had a black costume option. For the one I think just about everybody wishes that they would have used though, and here we have Hush. It cuts a mean silhouette, is a lot closer to the head that's on the box, and for my JLA purposes is a lot closer to this. For those curious about how it looks on the JLA body, here you go. As much as I like the Three Jokers head, it's definitely an improvement. And for all of you out there wondering, here's the Hush head on the Three Jokers body along with the trunks and belt from the 2-pack. I am so happy to report that the bat symbol and belt match despite being from two separate figures. The head looks great, and as I wait for the Nightfall reissue, I have to say this might just be my definitive black and gray Batman. That said, I do have one more idea to capture this look. My customized version of the Hush 2-pack. If you haven't seen that video, I modded that head to go from a gaping mouth to clenched teeth, and yeah, that's pretty much it. For my perfect JLA Batman swap, this head goes here, and this head goes in the trash. If you want to build Plastic Man, this figure is indispensable, but not only does this Batman have more character-specific accessories, he has an entire extra character to play with. For playability, this round also goes to the 2-pack. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. The Spawn 2-pack retails for $49.99, breaking down to $25 a figure. JLA retails for $24.99. But whereas the 2-pack Batman only comes with a Batarang and a couple of hands, JLA only has one Batman accessory, but 4 build-pieces. The better value for price this round goes to JLA, but the battle goes to 2-pack 3-2. Agree? Disagree? Sound off in the comments. While you're down there, tell me where Grant Morrison's JLA run ranks for you. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.